So why do they expire? Okay. Okay, they overprice. Okay. Any other reason? Okay, difficult seller, conditions, right? Okay, lack of communication. What it sounds like is I'm in a room full of agents telling me why listings expire. Why don't we go ahead and flip the script here? I want you to pretend you're all your sellers and tell me why a listing expires.
My agent didn't work.
Oh, my agent didn't. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's hear what else. What else?
They didn't market it enough.
They didn't market it enough. What else? That's communication. My agent didn't talk to me, didn't communicate with me. That said, I want you to really think about the contrast there. If you were to ask an agent, the seller's unrealistic, right? Would anybody argue that? Okay. Or the home is overpriced. We heard both of those. Is that right? Okay. What if we ask the client, the agent didn't do enough, didn't market, the agent sucks, right? Have you guys ever heard that one?
Yeah.
I heard that one all the time. What was really funny was when I was one of those agents, but because they'd tell me how horrible he was, and you know, I was the one here 2 years ago. Oh, no, you were great. It was the other guy. So anyway, the reason I want to share this is I want you to know the truth. None of those is right. None of the reasons that you gave me is the reason why the listing expired. How crazy is that? Is that a bold statement? How many of y'all want to maul me now, right? No, that's bold. That client was totally unrealistic. I'm going to tell you what really happened. Oh, there's 3 sides of every story. I love this, right? There's yours, mine, and then what really happened, right? Okay. The real reason is that they were on opposite sides. Every single time an agent loses a listing or the listing doesn't sell, it's because the agent and the client were not working together. I want you to think about that. I'm not going to ask for a raise of hands, but have you ever had a listing that you've either expired or lost or canceled or something along those lines? What I want you to do right now is I want you to go back into your mind and I want you to think back to when you lost connection with the client, when you were no longer on the same side. Now, for some of you, it might have been, oh, I missed a call and it pissed them off. Or maybe some of you, it was from the get-go, right? From the very beginning. What I want to talk about is how we can overcome this problem, all right? I will tell you that the first rule to winning a listing is to always be on the side of the client. Always be on the side of the client. If we're on the side of the client, if we're on the same side of the client, the listing won't expire. How crazy is that? Because we're working together for the same goal, okay? This is the problem. What is our concern with being on the side of the client? What comes to mind for those of you that have a hard time with that? What's the concern? Be honest. Come on. This is a safe space. Okay, what if they're overpriced? What if they're not realistic? What? The seller isn't aware of the market, right? And how different the market is versus 12 months ago when their neighbor sold their house, right? Okay, this is interesting because you're telling me all these reasons why we can't be on the same side. Just out of curiosity, how many of y'all are married? I got a question. Are you on the side of your spouse? Are y'all on the same side? How often do you agree with each other? How on earth are you on the same side? Isn't that crazy? Okay, you don't have to agree with them to be on their side. That's our problem. We're so freaking stubborn that we think that they need to think like us or else we cannot be on the same team. All right, that's not true. Okay, it's very, very important. Most agents and clients see it as me versus you. They think that if I get what I want, then the agent doesn't. And then we think if the client gets the price that they want, then I lost because I was wrong. If we think win-win, now it's a completely different story, right? You don't have to agree with them to be on the same side. All we got to do is think win-win. What is the common goal? What is the common objective? And let's focus on that. How do you get on the same side of the client? Okay, you build relationships of trust. So we won't get too in depth here, but it's interesting. We get into what I call a conflict, and I always tell people that every time we reach a conflict, we take one of 2 paths every single time. Okay, this is really funny because for those of you that raised your hand when you said you were married, okay, do you guys ever get in conflicts with your spouse? All right, you'll relate with this, but it even speaks more with your clients. Check this out. Okay, what happens is when we reach conflict, what's happening there is there's a difference of opinion or belief, right? And then what happens is we want to either justify our belief, or we want to change their belief, or both if possible, right? And so what we do is we take two paths. There's two paths that we can choose from. Most of us take the wrong path, okay, because the right path is a little bit harder. The path we usually take is what I call the path of retaliation, okay? To take the path of retaliation, what we have to do is we have to show how they're wrong. And so what we do is we dig against everything that they believe, even though 90% of the things that they believe are what we believe. Okay, but we got to prove them wrong, so we go completely contrary. The better option is reconciliation, the path of reconciliation. And the way we reconcile is we look for things that we have in common. We build on commonalities to balance out the difference. And that's what we want to do when we build relationships of trust. We want to identify how we are similar. How are we alike? So often we want to show them how they're wrong and how we're right, whereas if we would just look at what we share in common, now we can develop a stronger relationship. Does that make sense? So we want to get to know them better. We want to build on relationships that they already believe in, that they already trust. And then we want to look for commonalities in their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Okay? They'll be on your side if you are similar to them, complement them, and cooperate with them. There's a really good book I'm going to recommend to everybody. It's called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Dr. Robert Cialdini. I don't know if you guys ever read that book. In it, he says that there's 3 rules of liking. We're really, really lazy by nature, so we don't go through all the complicated effort of figuring out why we like each other. And so what we do is we use these generic rules, and how we determine if we like somebody is, first of all, are you similar to me? If you're similar to me, then there must be something good about you, okay? If you recognize how amazing I am and you like me, then you must be a pretty smart person, so I want to be your friend, right? And if you'll cooperate with me, then I know we can go somewhere together, right? And so that's how we like each other. And yet, how often do we go to a listening appointment and we end up spending half the time telling them how they're wrong, how they're off, right? So, my recommendations. Rule 1, get on the side of the client. Okay, get on the side of the client. Okay, so I'm going to give you some scripts, some ways that we can get on the same side. I can totally see why you feel like your house is worth X. That toilet flower pot in the front yard is amazing, right? I can. That's so cool, right? It's just like the one in my yard. I wouldn't say that, but okay, I know, right? This one's the one I love. Is when we're making our calls. Okay, have you guys ever had somebody say, man, you're the 50th agent that called me today? What do we usually say? We usually say, well, I mean, and we try to justify. What I always used to do is, yeah, stupid agents. Do you want to learn how to get off their list? Let me come over and show you. Right? Let's get on the same side. Let's help them get what they want.
Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you, because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.